Blood dripped from Alex Brennan's knuckles onto the marble floor of what used to be his home. Victor Hale, the man who'd stolen everything, stood there smirking, phone in hand, recording every second. Alex's 14-year-old daughter Mia held her own phone up too, capturing her father's destruction for the world to see. His wife Lena didn't even flinch. She just crossed her arms and said the words that would haunt him forever. "You were never really part of this family anyway. How did a devoted father end up here? How does a man who sacrificed everything watch his entire world conspire against him? Stick around, because what you're about to hear will make you question everyone you trust." And before we dive in, hit that like button if you've ever felt betrayed by the people closest to you, and subscribe because this story takes turns you won't believe. Now, let me take you back to where it all started, 3 weeks before that bloody confrontation. The rain hammered against the windows of the Brennan house in Bellevue, Washington, one of those neighborhoods where every lawn looked perfect and every family seemed happy. Alex sat at the dinner table, tie loosened, exhaustion written across his face. He had just pulled a 16-hour shift at Morrison & Associates, the architecture firm where he'd spent the last 12 years designing other people's dreams while his own collected dust. His plate of lukewarm pasta sat untouched. Across from him, Mia scrolled through her phone, thumbs flying. 10-year-old Jake picked at his food, quiet as always. "Mia, phone away during dinner," Alex said, keeping his voice even despite the pounding headache behind his eyes. "Whatever," she muttered, not even looking up. "I'm not asking. I'm telling." Lena glanced up from her wine glass, her third of the evening, but said nothing. Mia's fingers kept moving. Alex reached across and placed his hand over her screen. I said, "Get your hand, OFF." Mia jerked the phone away, her chair scraping back. "You don't get to tell me what to do. You're not even my real dad." The words hung in the air like shattered glass. Alex felt something crack inside his chest. "What did you just say?" "Mia, that's enough," Lena said, but there was no real heat in it. "No, let her finish." Alex's voice went dangerously quiet. "What do you mean I'm not your real dad?" Mia's eyes gleamed with something cruel, something she was too young to carry. "Everyone knows. I've known for years." "You watch your mouth." Alex stood, his chair toppling backward. "Don't yell at my kids." Lena exploded, slamming her glass down so hard the stem cracked. Wine spread across the white tablecloth like blood. "These are my children, Alex. If you want to yell at someone, go find your own." The room went dead silent. Jake's fork clattered to his plate. Mia's smirk widened. She'd known exactly what bomb she was dropping. "What?" Alex's voice barely worked. Lena's face flushed, but she didn't back down. "You heard me. 15 years. 15 years of birthday parties, and scraped knees, and homework help, and tucking him in. 15 years of believing he was building something real." Alex grabbed his keys and wallet, his hand shaking so badly he could barely grip them. He didn't trust himself to speak. Didn't trust what might come out. "Where are you going?" Lena demanded. He didn't answer, just walked into the rain, got into his Toyota and drove. He didn't see the mailbox until it was too late. The sickening crunch of metal, the long scratch that would permanently scar the passenger side. At a red light 3 blocks away, his phone buzzed. Lena's text glowed in the darkness. "Don't come back. Ever." Sitting alone in his car, rain drumming on the roof, Alex Brennan realized he'd just lost his entire family in less than 5 minutes. And he had no idea that this was only the beginning. Alex's brother Tom lived in a cramped apartment in Tacoma, 40 minutes south. Tom opened the door in sweatpants and a Seahawks jersey, beer in hand, eyes widening at the sight of Alex drenched and hollow-eyed. "Jesus, what happened?" Alex pushed past him into the cluttered living room. "Can I crash here tonight?" "Yeah, of course, but..." "Lena kicked me out." The words tasted like poison. Tom set his beer down, face shifting into concern. "What? Why?" Alex told him everything. Mia's words, Lena's explosion, the secret that apparently everyone but him had known. Tom listened, nodding in all the right places, making sympathetic sounds. "That's brutal, man. But maybe you should try to patch things up? For the kids." Did you hear what I just said? They're not my kids. You don't know that for sure. Me as a teenager, they say crazy things. And Lena was probably drunk. Tom grabbed his phone. Look, let me text her. Feel things out. Don't. Just to see if she'll... I said don't. Alex's voice cracked. Tom held up his hands. Okay. You know what? You're upset. Get some sleep. We'll figure this out tomorrow. But after Alex collapsed on the couch, Tom stepped into the bathroom and typed quickly. Lena, heads up, Alex is here. He's really unstable. Talking crazy. Just wanted you to know. The response came within seconds. Thanks for letting me know. Keep an eye on him. In the living room, Alex couldn't sleep. He stared at the water-stained ceiling, his mind spinning. Finally, he got up and started looking through the box of old family photos Tom kept in the hallway closet. Anything to ground himself in reality. That's when he found it. A photo from 7 years ago. A company barbecue. There was Lena laughing at something, and there, in the background, a man's hand on her lower back. Casual. Familiar. The angle was wrong to see his face, but Alex recognized the watch. The silver Rolex Submariner. Victor Hale, his former best friend, his former business partner, before Victor had screwed him over and stolen their shared clients. Alex's hand started shaking again. Tom emerged from the bathroom. Found some old pictures? Did you know? Alex held up the photo. About Lena and Victor? Tom's face went carefully blank. Know what? Don't lie to me. Alex, I don't know what you're talking about. Tom reached for his wallet on the counter, and as he did, he smoothly pocketed the 2 20s Alex had left sitting there. Look, you need to calm down. You're seeing things that aren't there. Alex's phone rang. Work. He almost didn't answer, but 15 years of conditioning made him pick up. Mr. Brennan? It was Janet from HR. Her voice was ice. We need to schedule a meeting. First thing Monday morning. About what? We received a complaint from your daughter regarding verbal abuse and threatening behavior in the home. The room tilted. That's not. She's lying. Monday, 9 a.m. Don't be late. Click. Alex looked at Tom, who suddenly seemed very interested in his own phone. Did you? Look, I think you should find somewhere else to stay. Tom wouldn't meet his eyes. This is getting too intense, and I've got my own family to think about. Your family? Tom, I'm your brother. And Lena's the mother of my niece and nephew. I can't take sides here. The rain was getting worse outside. Alex looked at his brother. Really looked, and saw it clearly for the first time. The slight guilt in his eyes. The defensive set of his shoulders. You knew, Alex whispered. All this time you knew. I need you to leave. How much did she pay you to keep quiet? Get out, Alex. Now. 5 minutes later, Alex stood in the parking lot as Tom locked the door behind him. The deadbolt sliding into place sounded like a gunshot. His phone buzzed again. A notification from his bank. Overdraft warning. He checked the account. The $200 he withdrawn earlier for exactly this kind of emergency was gone. Tom had taken it all. Alex sat in his car, the scratch down the side a perfect metaphor for his life, and opened his email to kill time before finding a motel. The most recent message made his blood run cold. Subject: DNA test results, case number 4782. Dear Mr. Brennan, as requested in your inquiry from March 2019, please find attached your paternity test results for Jacob Brennan. March 2019. He'd never requested any test. This had to be a mistake. He opened the attachment with trembling fingers. Probability of paternity, 0%. Conclusion: Alex Brennan is excluded as the biological father of Jacob Brennan. Jake, his son, his quiet, gentle boy who loved dinosaurs and asked him every night to read one more chapter. Not his. Alex's scream fogged the windows. Nobody heard it but the rain. The Rusty Anchor was a kind of bar where nobody asked questions. Alex found himself there 2 hours later, his fourth beer growing warm in his hand. He'd burned through half a tank of gas just driving in circles, unable to process what he'd learned. Rough night. The bartender leaned against the counter. Rita Crawford. They'd gone to high school together, back when life made sense. You could say that. Want to talk about it? Maybe it was the alcohol. Maybe it was the desperate need for someone, anyone, to listen. But Alex told her everything. The dinner, the exile, the DNA results. Rita listened with perfect sympathy, refilling his glass even when he tried to wave her off. "Another round's on the house," she said, smiling. "Lord knows you need it." By closing time, Alex had spent $140 he couldn't afford. Rita walked into his car, made sure he wasn't driving, promised to check on him tomorrow. She didn't. But 3 days later, a blind item appeared on Seattle's biggest gossip blog. Which prominent architect just discovered his perfect family was built on lies? Sources say the wife's been playing house with his former bestie for years. The kids? Let's just say Father's Day must be awkward. The post didn't name him, but it included just enough details that anyone who knew him would know. Alex tried calling Rita. Straight to voicemail. He drove by the bar. New bartender. He slept in his car that night in a grocery store parking lot. Woke up shivering, throat raw, head pounding. The fever that settled into his bones would last for weeks. He needed to hear Jake's voice. Needed something real. The phone rang 4 times. Then, "Hello? Jake. Buddy, it's Dad." Click. Alex called back. It rang once before going to voicemail. Blocked. He tried Mia's number. Same result. At a gas station bathroom. Alex splashed cold water on his face and stared at the stranger in the mirror. 3 days of stubble. Eyes bloodshot. The beginning of something broken. His phone buzzed. An email notification. "Mr. Brennan, following our review of the complaint filed against you, and in light of your no-show at this morning's mandatory HR meeting, we are placing you on administrative leave pending investigation. Please return your building access card and company laptop by end of day Friday. Best regards. Morrison and Associates Human Resources." He'd forgotten about the meeting. Completely forgotten. That night, in the parking lot of a closed shopping center, Alex opened his laptop one last time before he'd have to return it. He'd kept files. Years of files. Just random family documents, scanned papers, things Lena had asked him to organize. In a folder labeled Medical 2019, he found it. Another DNA test. This one for Mia. Probability of paternity, 0%. The test was dated March 15th, 2019, 3 weeks before their 15th wedding anniversary. The same trip to Napa Valley where Lena had been so affectionate, so loving, where they'd supposedly reconnected. She'd known for 7 years. She'd looked him in the eyes every single day for 7 years and lied. Alex closed the laptop, turned off his phone, and for the first time since the dinner, he let himself cry. Real, ugly, broken sob that shook his whole body. Somewhere in Seattle, his children slept in warm beds. His wife probably slept soundly too. And Alex Brennan realized that sometimes the worst betrayals aren't the ones that surprise you. They're the ones that everyone else saw coming. By Friday morning, rage had replaced grief. Alex cleaned himself up at a gym he'd never canceled his membership to, shaved, put on the one clean shirt he had, and drove back to Bellevue. The house looked exactly the same. Perfect lawn, perfect flowers, perfect lie. He used his key. Lena hadn't changed the locks yet. Stupid of her. She was in the kitchen, coffee in hand, looking at her phone. She glanced up and barely reacted to his presence. "You can't be here. I found the DNA tests." His voice was eerily calm. Both of them. From 2019. Lena set down her cup slowly. "Alex, 7 years. You knew for 7 years and you said nothing. It was complicated. Was it Victor?" She flinched. Actual visible flinch. That told him everything. "Oh my God." Alex's laugh was bitter and sharp. "Victor Hale, my best friend, my business partner, the man who bankrupted our company and stole everything we built. That Victor? It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Lena? Explain it to me. I did it for the kids." Her voice rose, defensive. "They needed stability. You were struggling with a business. Victor was successful, and I made a choice for their future." They're not my kids. The front door opened. Alex spun around. Victor Hale stood in the doorway like he owned the place. Probably because, in every way that mattered, he did. Designer suit, perfect hair, that same smug smile that had once been friendly. "Lena," I heard shouting. Victor saw Alex and his smile widened. "Oh, Alex. Still playing the victim, I see." Something in Alex snapped. He didn't remember crossing the room. Didn't remember his fist pulling back. But he felt the impact. Knuckles connecting with Victor's jaw. The man stumbling backward into the doorframe. "Alex, stop." Lena screamed. Victor recovered quickly, dabbing at his split lip. "You just made a huge mistake." Alex went for him again, but hands grabbed him from behind. Neighbors. Someone must have heard. Two men held Alex's arms as he fought against them. "Let me go." Mia appeared at the top of the stairs. Phone out, recording everything. Of course she was. "Look at him," she said to the camera, voice dripping with performance. "My so-called father, everyone. Violent, unstable. This is what we've been dealing with." "Mia, please." Alex's voice cracked. She posted it before he even finished the sentence. Victor wiped blood from his mouth with a monogrammed handkerchief. "You know what? I was going to press charges. Assault and battery. Breaking and entering. But I'm a reasonable man." He pulled out a folder from his briefcase. "Sign these divorce papers right now. Walk away quietly, and this all goes away. And if I don't, then I press charges, you go to jail, and you lose any chance of ever seeing those kids again. Even supervised visits." Victor's smile was pure poison. "Your choice, Alex. But make it fast. The police are already on their way." Through the window, Alex could see Jake in the backyard, playing with his action figures. His boy, except he wasn't. Had never been. The pen felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. "Don't do this," Alex said, last desperate attempt. "Victor, we were brothers once. We were never brothers. We were business partners. And you were weak then, too." Alex signed. Every page. Every line that dissolved 15 years into legal nothingness. Victor took the papers, barely glancing at them. Smart choice. "Oh, and Alex." He leaned in close, voice dropping. "She was never yours. Not really, even when you thought she was." The neighbors let Alex go. He stumbled out to his car, hands shaking so badly he couldn't grip the keys. His phone was blowing up. Notifications from every social media platform he had. Mia's video was already viral. Deadbeat dad exposed. Local man attacks stepdad in front of terrified children. The comments were worse than the headline. "Lock him up. This is why we need red flag laws. Those poor kids." Nobody knew the truth. Nobody cared. Alex drove until he ran out of gas on a rural road outside Enumclaw. Sat there as the sun set, watching his entire life get dismantled in real time online. He'd lost his wife, his kids, his home, his job, his dignity. What else was there? 2 weeks passed in a blur of cheap motels and cheaper food. Then Victor called. "Alex, I feel bad about how things went down." His voice oozed false sincerity. "I know a guy who runs a construction firm. Not architecture, but it's work. Pays decent. Interested." Every instinct screamed no. But Alex's bank account had $17 in it. What's the catch? No catch. Just try to help an old friend get back on his feet. The job was humiliating. Glorified project management for a strip mall renovation in Federal Way. But it paid the bills. Barely. And it got him out of the motel and into a studio apartment that smelled like mildew and old cigarettes. His co-workers whispered when they thought he couldn't hear. Everyone had seen the video, but one person seemed kind. Sarah Cho, young, ambitious in turn with bright eyes and an encouraging smile. She brought him coffee on his third day. "Ignore them," she said. "People love drama, but they don't know your story." "Thanks," Alex said, surprised by the genuine warmth. Over the next week, Sarah became his only work friend. She listened without judgment, offered advice, made him laugh for the first time in months. And then the miracle, Lena called. "Jake's been asking about you," she said, voice neutral. The therapist says supervised visits might be good for him. Alex's heart hammered. Really? Saturdays. 2 hours. I'll be there the whole time. It wasn't much, but it was something. That first Saturday, Jake ran to him in the park, wrapping small arms around Alex's waist. I missed you, Dad. Dad. The word made Alex's eyes burn. They played on the swings, fed ducks at the pond. Jake showed him the new dinosaur encyclopedia Lena had bought him. For 2 hours, Alex felt almost human again. Maybe this was it. Maybe things were finally stabilizing. At work Monday, Sarah invited him to lunch. They went to a quiet sandwich place, talked about movies, normal things. You're doing really well, Sarah said, considering everything. Just taking it day by day. She smiled. That's healthy. He didn't notice her phone on the table, recording. Wednesday morning, Victor's secretary called. Mr. Hale would like to see you. His office. 5 p.m. Alex's stomach dropped, but he went. Victor sat behind a massive mahogany desk, fingers steepled. Alex, how's the job? It's fine. Good. Good. Victor pulled out his phone, tapped a few times, then turned it around. It was a recording. Sarah's voice, asking questions, and Alex's voice, bitter and angry, venting about Victor, about Lena, about the whole rotten situation. Where did you? Sarah's quite talented, Victor said, very ambitious. When she told me she'd gotten close to you, I knew she'd deliver. The room spun. You planted her? I employ her, and now she's moving up to junior associate. Everyone wins. Except you. Victor leaned forward. Here's the situation. Quit by tomorrow morning, or I send this recording to Jake's therapist. Show him what you really think about his mother, about him, about everything. I never said anything about Jake. Doesn't matter what you actually said. Matters what I tell them you said. Victor checked his watch. 48 hours. Starting now. Alex walked out on shaking legs. In the parking lot, he saw Sarah getting into her car. Their eyes met through the windshield. She looked away quickly, started the engine, and drove off. He'd trusted her. Actually trusted someone. Fool. That night, Alex composed his resignation email. Sent it at 11:47 p.m. By midnight, he'd started searching, digging into Victor Hale's past. If he was going down, he wasn't going alone. What he found in those first few hours made him realize something crucial. Victor wasn't just a cheater and a liar. He was a criminal, and Alex was going to prove it. The Seattle Public Library became Alex's second home. In the business record section, he found the first thread. Morrison and Hale Associates. Their old company. Alex had always assumed it failed because of the recession, but the timeline was wrong. The firm went under in 2016, 3 years after the recession ended, and 6 months after Victor left to pursue other opportunities. Alex requested the bankruptcy filings. It took a week to get them. They're buried in the financial statements. $340,000 in unexplained transfers. Money that vanished in the company accounts right before Victor left. Money that Alex, as the remaining partner, had been held responsible for. It had ruined him, tanked his credit, forced him to take the job at Morrison and Associates instead of starting fresh. Victor had stolen from their company and let Alex take the fall. Alex's hands shook as he photographed every page. He needed more, needed everything. Tom called that night. Alex, we need to talk. About what? Can we meet? Somewhere neutral. They met at a Denny's in Auburn. Tom looked terrible, hollow-eyed, jumpy. I need to tell you something, Tom said, not touching his coffee. About Victor, and Lena, and me. Go ahead. Victor paid me. The words tumbled out fast, like Tom had been holding them in too long. $15,000 over 3 years. To keep quiet about the affair. To make sure you never suspected anything. Alex felt nothing. Just cold calculation. When did it start? The affair? 2017, I think, right after the company went under. And you knew the whole time. He threatened me, Alex. Said he'd ruin my business, go after my kids. So you sold out your brother to save yourself. Tom's face crumpled. I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry. Did you know about the embezzlement? Tom's eyes widened. What embezzlement? Alex showed him the documents. Watch Tom's face go pale. Oh no. Oh, God. Alex, I helped him move some money. He said it was legal, just tax stuff. You laundered money for him? I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it was stolen. Alex leaned back, mind racing. This was bigger than he'd thought. Victor wasn't just a cheater. He was running an entire operation of fraud and manipulation. I'll testify, Tom said suddenly. Whatever you need, I'll tell them everything. Too late for that. Alex stood. But stay available. When this blows up, they'll come for you too. He left Tom sitting there, finally understanding what betrayal felt like. Back at his apartment, Alex found an envelope taped to his door. Inside, a burner phone and a note. You're not the only one he's destroyed. Call this number. A friend. Alex stared at the phone for an hour before dialing. A woman's voice answered. Took you long enough. Who is this? Someone who wants Victor Hale to pay. Meet me tomorrow. California, Anderson Park. 2 p.m. Come alone. Click. The next day, Alex sat on a bench feeding pigeons he didn't care about, waiting. She appeared from behind a tree. Mid-30s, professional suit, expensive bag. She sat down without introduction. Meredith Tang, she said. I was Victor's partner in his first business. He embezzled from that too. I spent 2 years in court trying to prove it. He buried me in legal fees until I had to drop the case. Why help me? Because you have something I didn't. A personal connection. People will listen to you. She handed him a flash drive. Everything I collected. Account numbers, wire transfers, shell companies. It wasn't enough alone. But combined with what you're finding, Alex pocketed the drive. He'll come after you. He already did. I have nothing left to lose. Meredith stood. Make it count. That night, Alex went through the files. The scope of Victor's crimes was staggering. Millions of dollars. Dozens of victims. All hidden behind legitimate businesses and charitable foundations. But there was something else. Something that made Alex's blood run cold. A file labeled Custody Strategy Brennan. Inside, a detailed plan. DNA tests ordered under Alex's name without his knowledge. Fake records of erratic behavior. Payments to Rita, the bartender, to leak his story. Sarah's employment specifically to gain his trust and record him. And then the final piece, Mia. An email from Victor to Lena, dated 6 months ago. M is ready. Been working with her on the trigger phrases. When they correct her next, she knows what to say. The explosion needs to look organic. Then we move forward with the plan. They'd weaponize his own daughter. Coached her to deliver the killing blow. Alex's phone buzzed. A local news alert. Breaking. Prominent architect accused of embezzlement in former partnership. Former business partner Victor Hale speaks out. He clicked the link. Victor's face filled the screen. Perfectly composed, voice grave with false sorrow. I hate to say this, but I've been holding on to evidence for years, trying to protect Alex's children. But I can't stay silent anymore. Alex Brennan stole from our company and from our clients. I have documentation. I'm turning everything over to the authorities. No. Victor had flipped the script, used Alex's own investigation as cover to accuse him first. Alex's phone exploded with calls. Unknown numbers. Reporters. He turned it off and sat in the dark, feeling the walls close in. This was it. The moment where he either gave up or became someone new. Someone who understood that in a world of liars and thieves, the only way to win was to play dirtier than they ever imagined. Alex Brennan cracked his knuckles and got to work. Revenge wasn't going to be quick, but it was going to be complete. Alex sat in the public library at 3 a.m., the 24-hour section, surrounded by documents and empty coffee cups. His eyes were bloodshot, but focused. Clear. He'd spent his last $400 on something he never thought he'd need. A hacker, not some movie fantasy teenager, in a hoodie. A real profesional. Former cybersecurity consultant who'd done time for exposing corporate fraud and didn't mind doing it again for the right price. His name was Drew. They'd never met in person. Never would. I'm in. Drew's message appeared on the encrypted chat. Hale's email server is garbage. He thinks paying for premium makes him safe. Idiot. What do you have? Alex typed, everything. Business emails, personal emails, text synced to his cloud. The man's entire life. What do you want first? Alex thought carefully. He couldn't dump everything at once. Too much information would overwhelm people. Victor would bury it in lawyers and spin. No, this had to be surgical. Find me something small. Embarrassing but not illegal. Something that damages his reputation, but doesn't show our hand. 30 minutes later, Drew delivered an email chain between Victor and a married city council member. Nothing explicitly illegal, but flirtatious, inappropriate, and copied to Victor's work account. The council member had voted in favor of 3 of Victor's development projects. Perfect, Alex whispered. He created an anonymous account, sent the emails to Seattle's 2 biggest political blogs and the local investigative news desk. By morning, the story broke. Developer's cozy relationship with council member raises ethics questions. Victor's office issued a statement denying wrongdoing, but the damage was done. His perfect image had its first crack. Alex allowed himself a small smile. Then his mother called. Alex, someone came to the house. Her voice shook. 2 men. They said they were friends of Victor's. They told me I should convince you to stop making trouble. Alex's blood ran cold. Did they hurt you? No, they scared me, sweetheart. They knew things about your father's medical history, about my finances. They said if you kept digging, things could get complicated for me. Mom, I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. Just tell me the truth. Are you safe? Alex looked around the empty library. I don't know. Then stop this. Please. Whatever you're trying to prove, it's not worth your life. After she hung up, Alex felt the familiar weight of guilt. His mother didn't deserve this. She'd already lost her husband 5 years ago. Now her son was dragging her into a war. But stopping wasn't an option anymore. He called Drew. They found my mother. How? Let me check. Yeah, someone's been running searches on you. Professional level. They've got your family tree, known associates, property records. Alex, they're mapping your entire life. Can you trace who? Already did. IP address traces back to a private security firm. Guess who's their biggest client? Victor. Bingo. And here's the fun part. They just filed a work order 2 hours ago. Surveillance on your current address. Alex looked at the library windows. Suddenly, every shadow felt dangerous. I need to move. Now. I've got a better idea, Drew said. Let them watch. Let them think you're scared and hiding. Meanwhile, we keep digging from locations they'd never think to monitor. Like where? Public spaces, libraries, coffee shops, college campuses. Stay mobile. Stay unpredictable. Alex gathered his things and walked out into the gray Seattle dawn. At the bus stop, he noticed a black SUV parked across the street. Tinted windows. Engine running. They weren't even trying to hide anymore. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Stop digging, Alex. Last warning. Click. Alex turned off his phone, pulled the SIM card, and snapped it in half. He prepared for this. Bought 3 burner phones last week with cash. He wasn't stopping. He was just getting started. But when he reached his apartment building that evening, yellow crime scene tape blocked the entrance. His front door hung open, destroyed. Inside, everything was trashed. Every document, every device, every piece of evidence he'd kept. Gone. A cop stood by the entrance. You live here? Yeah. What happened? Break in. Looks like they were searching for something specific. You know anyone who want to rob you? Alex almost laughed. No idea. The cop handed him a card. File a report if you think of anything. Alex walked away, feeling the weight of complete violation. They'd taken everything. Months of work. All his backup evidence. But they'd made one mistake. Everything important was on a flash drive Meredith gave him. And that drive was in a safety deposit box across town, under a fake name Drew had helped him create. Victor thought he'd won this round. He had no idea the real attack was just beginning. Alex stood in the bathroom of McDonald's in Kent. staring at his reflection under fluorescent lights. 3 months ago, he'd been a father, a husband, a professional with a future. Now he was a ghost, living out of a gym bag, sleeping in his car, surviving on fast food and rage. The man in the mirror looked hollow, hungry, dangerous. Was this who he was now? Who he'd always been under the civilized surface? He thought about Jake. Sweet, innocent Jake who still believed in heroes and happy endings. What would his son think if he could see him now? Alex pulled out the one photo he'd kept. Jake's 6th birthday. They'd gone to the zoo. Jake had been terrified of the lions until Alex held his hand and told him, "Sometimes the scariest things are the ones we need to face." His hand tightened around the photo until it crumpled. That Alex, the one who believed in facing fears with courage and patience, was dead. This Alex understood something different. Some people only understand consequences, not words, not morality, only pain. He smoothed out the photo one last time, then tore it in half, left it in the trash. When he walked out of that bathroom, something fundamental had changed. The last piece of the old Alex Brennan stayed behind with that torn photograph. His new phone buzzed. "Drew, you need to see this. Now." Alex found an internet cafe, logged into the secure portal. Drew had hacked into Lena's iCloud. Inside, a video file from last week, Jake's therapy session, recorded on Lena's phone without the therapist's knowledge. Alex's hands shook as he pressed play. The therapist's voice, "Jake, can you tell me why you're afraid to see your dad?" Jake, small and uncertain, "Because Mom says he's dangerous, that he might hurt us." "Has he ever hurt you?" "No, but Mia says he will. She says he's changed, that he's not really my dad anyway." "How does that make you feel?" Jake's voice cracked. "I just want my dad back. The real one. The one who read me stories." The video ended. Alex sat frozen, tears streaming down his face. They'd poisoned his own son against him, turned his love into fear. Another file opened automatically. An email from Lena to Victor, dated yesterday. Jay is completely convinced now. The therapist is documenting his fear. Should have full custody locked down within a month. Then we can move forward with the other plans. The other plans. Alex clicked through more files. Found a real estate listing. His house, their house, already listed for sale. Price, $1.8 million. Another document. Preliminary divorce settlement. Lena would receive the house proceeds, his retirement account, and full custody. Alex would receive nothing, not even visitation. His entire life, liquidated and divided up before he'd even signed the papers. Something inside Alex didn't crack. It shattered. He made a decision in that moment. A line he crossed that he could never uncross. He wasn't trying to win his family back anymore. He was going to destroy everyone who destroyed him, starting with the truth about Victor that even Lena didn't know. Drew had found something buried in Victor's oldest emails. A file labeled Cleanup 2003. Inside, correspondence about a child, a son, born to a woman named Patricia Moreno in Spokane. Victor had paid her $50,000 to disappear and never contact him again. The child's name was Cameron. He'd be 23 now. Victor Hale, who played the devoted stepfather to Mia and Jake, had abandoned his own biological son. Alex opened a new browser window and started searching. Within 2 hours, he'd found Cameron Moreno on social media, working construction in Portland, posting pictures with his girlfriend, living a normal life, unaware that his wealthy biological father had thrown him away like garbage. Alex created a new anonymous email account. "Dear Cameron, you don't know me, but I have information about your biological father. His name is Victor Hale. He lives in Bellevue, Washington. He's worth approximately $40 million. He's also the man who paid your mother to never tell you he existed. I'm attaching proof. What you do with this information is your choice, but you deserve to know the truth. A friend." Alex attached the emails, the payment records, everything, and pressed send. Then he went to find a journalist. Elena Vasquez was an investigative reporter for Seattle Times who'd made a career of exposing corporate corruption. Alex had been following her work for weeks. They met at a coffee shop in Georgetown, far from anywhere Victor's people would think to look. Elena was sharp, late 30s, tired eyes that missed nothing. She listened to Alex's entire story without interrupting, occasionally taking notes. When he finished, she leaned back. This is explosive. If it's true, it's true. You understand what you're asking me to do? Accuse one of Seattle's most prominent developers of embezzlement, fraud, and conspiracy? I need more than your word and some documents that could be fabricated. Alex slid the flash drive across the table. Everything's there. Bank records, emails, witness statements. I even have someone who's willing to go on record, Meredith Tang. Elena's eyebrows rose. Victor's old partner? I tried to interview her years ago. She wouldn't talk. She will now. Elena pocketed the drive. Give me 2 weeks to verify everything. If this checks out, it'll be the biggest story of the year. I need it faster. Journalism doesn't work on revenge timelines, Alex. They're selling my house. Finalizing custody. If this doesn't break soon, then you should have thought of that before your family imploded. Elena's voice wasn't cruel, just factual. I'll work as fast as I can, but I'm not rushing a story this big and risking my credibility for your personal vendetta. She stood to leave, then paused. One more thing. When this publishes, your name will be attached. There's no anonymous sources in something like this. You ready for that spotlight? Alex thought about Mia's video. The viral humiliation. The whispers. I've got nothing left to lose. Elena smiled sadly. That's what everyone says. Right before they lose something else. The arrest came on a Tuesday morning. Alex was sitting in his car outside a Safeway, eating a day-old sandwich, when the police cruiser pulled up behind him. 2 officers approached, hands on their belts. Alex Brennan? Yes. You're under arrest for violating a protection order. Please step out of the vehicle. What protection order? They showed him the paperwork. Lena had filed an emergency restraining order claiming Alex had threatened her and the children. The order prohibited him from coming within 500 feet of the family home, the children's school, or Lena's workplace. I haven't been near any of those places. GPS data from your phone shows you parked outside the residence 3 times last week. That's impossible. I don't even have... And then he understood. The burner phones. They'd been tracking those too. Or more likely, they'd simply fabricated the data. The handcuffs clicked shut around his wrists. At the station, Alex was processed and thrown into a holding cell with 2 other men. One was passed out drunk. The other, a wiry guy with prison tattoos, studied Alex with interest. First time, the man asked. Yeah. What did you do? Existed in a way my ex-wife didn't like. The man laughed. I feel that. Name's Cole. They talked for hours. Cole was awaiting trial for fraud. His former business partner had accused him of embezzlement. The story sounded eerily familiar. Partner's name was Victor Hale. Cole said casually. Alex's head snapped up. What? Yeah, Victor fucking Hale. We ran a development company in Tacoma 5 years back. I did all the work. He handled the money. Turned out he was funneling profits into shell companies and left me holding the bag when the IRS came knocking. Why didn't you fight it? With what? He's got money for lawyers. I barely had money for rent. Cole shook his head. But between you and me, I kept records. Every transaction. Every shady deal. Stored it all in a storage unit in Federal Way before I got arrested. Does Victor know? Hell no. He thinks I'm just another victim who'll do my time and disappear. Cole leaned closer. Why? You got beef with him too? Alex told him everything. When he finished, Cole whistled low. Man's a monster. You know what? When I get out, I'm giving you that storage unit number. Use what's there. Burn him down. Why help me? Because some of us deserve to get destroyed. And Victor Hale is top of that list. Alex's bail hearing was set for the next morning. He had no money for bail and no one to call. Except he did have one call. Tom answered on the 3rd ring. Alex, I'm in jail. Lena filed a false protection order and... I know. She called me. Wanted me to testify that you've been unstable. And will you? Silence. Then, no, I'm done lying for them. I'll post your bail. And Alex, I'm sorry for everything. 8 hours later, Alex walked out of jail into the gray Seattle drizzle. Tom stood by his car, looking older than Alex remembered. Thanks, Alex said. Don't thank me yet. Lena's already calling me a traitor. Victor threatened to expose my money laundering unless I cut contact with you. You don't have to. Yeah, I do. You're my brother. Should have remembered that from the start. Tom handed him an envelope. There's $5,000 in there. It's not much, but it's yours. Clean money from my actual savings. Tom. And this, another envelope. Thicker. Every email I have with Victor. Every transaction. I kept it all as insurance. Now it's yours. Alex took both envelopes, feeling something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. Why now, he asked. Because I saw Lena yesterday. Saw her with Victor and those kids, playing Happy Family in front of the cameras for some charity event. And I realized she's going to do to them what she did to you. Eventually, when she finds someone richer, someone more useful. Tom got in his car, rolled down the window. Destroy them, Alex. For both of us. Alex watched his brother drive away, then opened his phone. New message from Elena Vasquez. Story verified. Publishing Friday. Hope you're ready. Alex smiled for the first time in weeks. He was more than ready. Thursday night, Alex sat in a motel room in Renton, surrounded by documents. Tom's files. Cole's storage unit number. Meredith's evidence. Drew's hacks. Pieces of a puzzle that was finally coming together. His phone rang. Unknown number. Hello? Mr. Brennan, this is Victor Hale. The voice was smooth, controlled. We need to talk. Nothing to talk about. I think there is. I know about the reporter. I know about the storage unit. I know everything you've been planning. Alex is hard-hammered, but he kept his voice steady. Good. Then you know you're finished. Am I? Or are you? Victor's tone shifted, darker. Because I also know about Cameron. About the email you sent him. That was a mistake, Alex. Truth usually hurts. Here's another truth. I'm offering you $10 million. Cash. Offshore account. You take it, disappear, and everyone wins. Alex laughed, bitter and sharp. You think this is about money? Everything's about money. But if that doesn't interest you, how about this? Accept my offer by midnight tonight, or I release Jake's full medical records to press. All of them, including the psychiatric evaluations documenting his anxiety disorder and the medications he's on. You wouldn't. Test me. Your son's privacy, his future, his ability to live a normal life. All of it gone. Splashed across every news site by morning. Is your revenge worth that? Alex closed his eyes, seeing Jake's scared face in the therapy video. I need time to think. You have until midnight. Not a second more. Click. Alex sat in the silence, rage and love warring inside him. This was a choice, then. Destroy Victor, and potentially destroy Jake's innocence in the process. Or take the money and let Victor win. He picked up his phone and called Drew. I need you to do something for me. Something big. The press conference was Victor's idea. Friday morning, 10 a.m., at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel. All the major news outlets present. Alex stood beside Victor at the podium, looking appropriately humbled. Lena sat in the front row, Mia and Jake on either side of her. Perfect family portrait. Victor spoke first, voice heavy with magnanimous forgiveness. Today, I'm pleased to announce that Alex Brennan and I have reached an understanding. After weeks of difficult conversations, and with the help of professional mediators, we've decided to move forward in peace. Alex has agreed to drop all accusations, and in return, I've agreed to help fund his fresh start in a new city. Cameras flashed. Reporters scribbled notes. Alex and I were brothers once, Victor continued. And while we may never be that close again, we can at least be civil. For the sake of the children we both care about. Applause rippled through the room. Victor stepped aside, gesturing for Alex to speak. Alex approached the microphone, hands shaking slightly. He looked at Lena, who smiled with cold satisfaction. At Mia, who smirked. At Jake, who looked confused and sad. "Thank you all for coming," Alex began, voice soft. "Victor's right. We were brothers once, and brothers should be honest with each other." Victor's smile flickered, "Which is why I need to be honest now. About everything." Alex pulled out a USB drive. 3 months ago, I discovered that my entire life was built on lies. But here's what I learned while digging for truth. I wasn't the only one being lied to. Alex. Victor stepped forward, but Alex moved away from the podium toward the AV tech. "This drive contains financial records proving Victor Hale embezzled over $2 million from our former company. It also contains evidence of fraud in 6 other businesses, including testimony from 4 former partners he destroyed." The room erupted. Victor lunged to the drive, but security stepped between them. "But wait, there's more." Alex's voice rose over chaos. "It also contains emails proving Victor paid my wife to orchestrate the destruction of our marriage, that he coached my daughter to betray me, that he systematically isolated me from everyone I loved, all so he could acquire my assets and my family." Lena stood, face white. "That's a lie." "Is it?" Alex turned to her. "Should we talk about the emails where you discussed selling our house before the divorce was even filed? Or the therapy recordings you made without consent? Or the fact that you knew about Victor's abandoned son in Portland and helped him hide it?" "What son?" someone shouted from the press corps. Victor grabbed the microphone. "This is slander. None of this is true." "Then let's ask Cameron Moreno," Alex said calmly, "who's standing right outside those doors. Your biological son, Victor, the one you paid $50,000 to forget about." The doors burst open. Cameron stood there, 23 and furious, holding his own stack of documents. "Is it true?" Cameron shouted across the room. "Are you my father?" Victor's face drained of color. The press went absolutely wild. In the chaos, Alex locked eyes with Jake across the room. His son stared at him with wide, frightened eyes. Alex mouthed, "I'm sorry." Then he turned and walked out through the back exit, leaving the wreckage behind. The Seattle Times published Elena's full investigation that evening. By midnight, 3 federal agencies had opened investigations into Victor's businesses. By Monday, Victor was arrested at his office, cameras catching every second of his perp walk. By Wednesday, Lena had hired a criminal defense attorney. Turned out she'd knowingly participated in financial fraud and conspiracy. Mia's college fund, built on Victor's illegal profits, was frozen pending investigation. Tom cooperated with prosecutors in exchange for immunity, giving them everything they needed to dismantle Victor's empire. Cameron filed a civil suit for abandonment and emotional damages. The house sold, but the proceeds went into escrow, locked down by competing legal claims. 1 month later, Alex sat in a small apartment in Portland, watching the news coverage. Victor had been denied bail. His trial would take years. Even if he avoided prison, he was financially destroyed. Every asset seized, every account frozen. Lena lost custody of both children. Jake went to live with Lena's sister in Spokane. Mia was placed in a group home after screaming at the social worker that this was all Alex's fault. Alex's phone rang. Jake's number. His hand hovered over it, shaking. Finally, he answered. "Hello, Dad." Jake's voice was small, uncertain. "Anne-Marie says I can call you now. The court said it's okay." Jake, "Hey, buddy. I saw the news. About Victor. About Mom. I don't understand what happened. I know. It's complicated. Did you really do all that to get back at them?" Alex closed his eyes. "I did it to tell the truth. But now everything's ruined. Our house is gone. I had to change schools. Mia won't even talk to me. I know. I'm sorry. Are you?" Jake's voice hardened, sounding older than 10. "Because it seems like you care more about winning than about us." The words hit like bullets. "Jake, Anne-Marie says maybe we can visit sometime. If you want." "Of course I want. I have to go. Dinner's ready." "Jake, wait." Click. Alex sat holding the dead phone, feeling the weight of everything he'd won and everything he'd lost. Victor was destroyed. Lena was destroyed. The truth was out, but his son's voice, cold, distant hurt, echoed in his mind. Was it worth it? Alex stood and walked to a window. His reflection stared back, older, harder, victorious, and utterly alone. In the end, betrayal echoes forever. It changes everyone it touches. Sometimes justice and revenge look exactly the same. And sometimes, even when you win, you lose the only thing that mattered. Alex Brennan had learned that the hard way. 6 months later, Alex drove toward Spokane in a used Honda. The settlement from his lawsuit against Victor had finally cleared. $300,000. Not everything he'd lost, but enough to start over. He pulled up to a modest house on the edge of town. Jake stood on the porch with a basketball, watching the car with guarded eyes. Alex got out slowly, raised one hand in greeting. Jake didn't smile, but he didn't run inside either. It was a start. Whether it would be enough, whether they could rebuild from the ashes of everything that burned, neither of them knew. But for the first time in a year, Alex felt something other than rage. He felt possibility. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. 6 months later, Alex drove toward Spokane in a used Honda. The settlement from his lawsuit against Victor had finally cleared. $300,000. Not everything he'd lost, but enough to start over. He pulled up to a modest house on the edge of town. Jake stood on the porch with a basketball, watching the car with guarded eyes. Alex got out slowly, raised one hand in greeting. Jake didn't smile, but he didn't run inside either. It was a start. Whether it would be enough, whether they could rebuild from the ashes of everything that burned, neither of them knew. But for the first time in a year, Alex felt something other than rage. He felt possibility. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. So that's the story. Alex got his revenge, but at what cost? Drop a comment and tell me. Did he do the right thing? Would you have taken Victor's money and walked away? Or burned everything down like Alex did? And if this story moved you, if it made you think, hit that subscribe button, because I've got more stories like this coming. Real stories about real choices that change lives forever. Thanks for watching. And remember, betrayal may echo forever, but so does truth.